We'll be getting started in just a couple of minutes. Okay, well, we will go ahead and get started. I'd like to start by welcoming everyone to our Empowerment Through Employment Disability Employment Awareness Month workshop. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you so much again for being here with us. My name is Denise Howard. I am the program director for LIFE. LIFE stands for Living Independence for Everyone. We are a nonprofit center for independent living run by and for people with disabilities. Our services are geared towards empowering people with disabilities through independence. Our mission is promoting independent living and advancing community change for everyone. October is Disability Employment Awareness Month. And today I have the honor of introducing 3 trailblazing individuals who happen to be people with disabilities. And they're going to share their employment journey and story with us so that we can benefit from their experience. And to kick us off is the visionary entrepreneur and leader behind Fedora Outlier LLC, a company that provides assistive technology, support, training, and other services. So Vashaun Jones, take it away.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Hello?
It's a little soft. I think we can hear you. Can you raise your volume just a little?
All right, let me see. Okay, what about now?
Oh, much better. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So my name is Vashaun Jones. As stated, I'm the visionary of Fedora Outlier LLC, and I love the word empowerment. Empowerment is a mechanism by which individuals, groups, and communities gain mastery over their affairs. And the reason why I know that definition so well is because when I first became disabled, I started the Cobb County Empowerment Chapter of the National Federation of the Blind of Georgia. And so that was about 17 years ago. And I'm going to stick a pin in that particular piece, and I'm going to fast forward to today. And I'll fill in the rest as we move along. So today, I am the visionary of Fedora Outlier LLC, and our mission is to help individuals with disabilities find or create work that is meaningful, purposeful, and profitable. And we do that through a bunch of different mechanisms. A lot is through vocational rehabilitation, of course, independent living, mentorship, and apprenticeship. And so a little bit about my journey as a person living with a disability. So I always start off every speech or presentation I do with this very sentence: a person with experience is not at the mercy of someone with an opinion. Now, what do I mean by that? The story I'm about to share with you guys is my true account as to my journey. And so there are no opinions in it. I'm not telling you something that I heard or anything that I guessed. It's what I lived through. So let's go back 17 years ago. I just became completely blind. I was bankrupt. I was homeless. I was uneducated. I was a Black male. I was blind and divorced, right? And was really, really at this point in life, not that I wanted to give up, but I didn't know which direction to go. You know, I felt like the world was caving in on me. I felt like there was no hope. And I didn't know anybody else in the world that was disabled. I knew older people, and I knew, you know, what we call the convalescent home or the old folks home, but I didn't know anyone that was 30 years old and was disabled. And so I ran across the National Federation of the Blind, and I met this lady by the name of Shirley Barksdale, who has now passed away. But she was familiar with people with disabilities. She had people in their families that was blind. She had individuals that were disabled, and she brought me into her home. And so that helped with the homeliness piece of me kind of finding my journey. And then I got further connected with the National Federation of the Blind, and I was able to connect with other individuals with disabilities. And I got connected with vocational rehabilitation. And I started to piece my life back together again. And through the National Federation of the Blind, there was a visually impaired lady that was volunteering at the NFB office by the name of Lori Renfro. And we became close friends. And as I began to find out about employment and the workplace for people that was visually impaired, I was asking her, I said, hey, you know, with everything, and I went down the same list that I gave you, the unemployed, the being Black and being blind and being, you know, uneducated and, you know, all of this, how can I become employed? And she told me something that sticks with me to this day. And she said, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll always have what you want. And I'm thinking, how can I help someone if I don't have anything? And she said, you do have something. She said, you have your brain. She said, you have your passion. And you have what you've been put on this earth to share. And I was like, okay, I have my brain. Yeah, I can think clearly. I do have a passion. I have this passion for technology, and I've been sharing it, but it doesn't bring profit. And I began to just kind of work through that in my mind. And once I started the Cobb County Empowerment Chapter of the National Federation of the Blind of Georgia Incorporated in Cobb County, I got connected with vocational rehabilitation. And me being a leader, now mind you, I'm still broken, but I'm the leader, right? So if I'm broke, then imagine the people that I'm leading. We all had similar questions. We all had the same angst. We all had the same things in life that everyone else around us had, which was we're trying to figure it out. None of us have been disabled before, so we're trying to figure it out. And so we invited our counselor, we're all in Cobb County, to the chapter meeting to speak. And we all had the same question, like, how do we get employment? How do we find what it is that we can do as people with disabilities? How is it that we can bridge the gap between what we don't have and where we want to go? And she said, I'm going to tell you guys the secret. And I'm going to tell you guys the God honest truth. And I don't want anyone throughout your life to make what I'm about to tell you something that you doubt. She said, I've been a counselor for 20 years. I'm about to leave. No one else is going to tell you these two things. You ready for it? The first thing that she told us was your vocational rehabilitation case is 80% you, the client, and 20% me, the counselor. And she said, what do I mean by that? She said, well, the biggest complaint that we hear is that my counselor doesn't call me back. I called my counselor 3 months ago and she hasn't called me back yet. And she said, well, if it's 80% you and 20% me, you should be calling until you get the result that you're looking for because it's your case. And it was about 25 people in the room, name by name, because mind you, all of us was on her caseload. We're in Cobb County. It's Cobb County counselor. She said, it's your case, Vashaun. It's your case, Giorgio. It's your case, Sheena. She went all around the room. It's your case. So 80% me, 20% her. What had I been given to my case? I've been given 20% me and thinking that she was supposed to give the other 80%. So the second thing that she told me that has resonated throughout all of my advocacy down through the years was, I work for you. I'm in the government. I work for you. Guess what? If you haven't given me anything to do, the beautiful thing about my job is on the 1st and the 15th, I am going to get a check regardless. So if you don't give me anything to do, then I'm not going to do anything. And when she walked away from that meeting, it was like a light bulb went off. And what transpired today, and all of my advocacy is that understanding. And I impart it into everyone that I come across. Now, I'm going to fast forward again to today. So today, I operate assistive technology, consulting, teaching, and support in 24 states, 7 countries. I employ 34 people. We have been profitable from day one And that was 11 years ago. So remote assistive technology instructions is what I started 11 years ago, way before the pandemic. When the pandemic happened, we had been working from remote locations. I always used to shoot videos from the beach and say I'm working. And I really was, that I can work from anywhere in the world there's an internet connection. So we've done it from Barbados to Africa to China to Canada, Australia. There, even way back then, there was no limit to me doing what I saw in my mind. But that counselor, Sheila Payne, gave me all the tools that I needed. Now, remember I told you guys that I was homeless. Today, my house is paid for. Remember I told you guys I was uneducated. Now, I go around the United States as an expert witness in court, testifying on the accessibility of websites and platforms all across the United States. Now, how did I get there? I took what Miss Sheila Payne told me, I took what Lori told me, and I started helping individuals with what they wanted in life. And I started advocating with people for what they wanted. And I promise you, I have not wanted for anything once I learned that particular philosophy of helping people genuinely get what they want. The key to it is, do you really want it? Or are you just talking about it? Because if I told each and every one of you guys, hey, find somebody that knows me, get my address, and I'll give you $1,000 if you can just get here. All right. So when I talk to people about finding or creating work that is meaningful, purposeful, and profitable, and I'm going to advocate with you, but you got to want it. If you're looking for a job, thinking one is going to fall in your lap, that's not how it works. You got to be actively looking, beating down doors, making phone calls, networking, getting with people. If you want to create work, you got to be thinking and activating. And then we want it to be meaningful and purposeful. And guess what? Most importantly, we want it to be profitable. Because if I'm broke, I can't help you make any money. So the key to employment, the key to finding employment, creating employment, is actually being active in your case, what it is that you want. When you walk into your counselor's office, you need to be prepared to tell them what you want, where to get it from, how much it costs. Here's all the information you need to help me with my case. And one thing I can guarantee, because I close cases all over the United States, status 26. When you walk in there with a game plan, when you walk in there as if you're the boss and they're the employee, and you know what you want, how to get it, where to get it from, how much it costs, how is this going to help you become adequately employed, and you can justify it, they can't tell you no. You want to start your own business? Write a business plan. You don't know how to write one? Go look at some on the internet. Copy what they said. This thing called employment is something that's in your head. If you can dream it, you can make it happen. I do it every single day. This uneducated Black blind man just went to Seattle. I spoke at Oracle, $10,000. I'm telling them the same thing I'm telling you right now for free. Did I stop there? Nope. Went right across to Amazon, gave the same speech, $10,000, and they pay for my trip. They pay for my airlines. They pay for my travel. They pay for my food. Because I said that I want to help as many people as I can find or create work that is meaningful, purposeful, and profitable. Now, I never brag, but the reality of it is, and I know it because I was there, homeless. I don't know too many people that as a side income makes $20,000 in 1 month. I don't know it. But what I do know, because the man with experience is not at the mercy of someone that's guessing, is that if I can do it, you can too. Here's the beautiful thing about it. You're connected with Denise somehow, get my number. I'll help you do it too. But guess what? You got to want it. Because you getting a job or you starting your business does not help me, does not put any money in my pocket, does not allow me to feed my family. It helps you. So the minute I see that I'm running faster than you on your dream, it's time to do something different. So my name is Vashaun Jones, and I am complete. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer any of them.
Wow, Vashaun, you've given us lots of food for thought. 80% the client and 20% the counsel.
Yes, ma'am.
That's powerful. Does anyone have any questions for Vashaun?
I don't see anything in the chat, and I just want to remind everybody, you're welcome to take yourself off of mute
I
if
have
you're
a
not
question.
able to use the chat.
Mr. Ema has a question
All right,
Yes, sir.
go right ahead.
for Vashaun Jones.
Yes, sir.
So when you went to Oracle, did they have other jobs on their platform?
I'm sorry, did they have one more time?
Like, did they have any openings at their company when you went over there?
So it was to build openings. There was a lady that works for Oracle who is a developer who's losing her site, went to DSB, which is the Department of
Blind Services?
Blind Services in Washington, and it was a job save. So a job save is, hey, I got a job, I'm losing my site, I need help, quick.
Mm-hmm.
And through her losing her site and the tools that she used not being accessible, me again being in the position of teaching on Macintosh computers, was able to go and to speak to them about opening the doors for accessibility for those that are disabled, especially those that are visually impaired who need to utilize their tools, because clearly there's a need. And so that's pretty much what that was about. And the same thing for Amazon as well.
Understand. And one last question before I let you go. How do you do beta testing for these websites?
So I don't do beta testing per se. I work with a group of attorneys and courts, and a lot of times what we're doing is what's called remediation, which is, hey, your website is not accessible, it's not compliant. And we would go in and use our developers and platform remediators to make their sites accessible. But we don't just, beta test.
No, I know what you're saying. You talk about it and you got to fix it, you fix it.
Correct.
Understand. That's all for now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, good afternoon. This is Sabrina. I had a two-part question. Exactly what is Orica, and how long did it take you before everything started rolling in? You going from one thing to the next? I told how many years or months or
okay.
Yes.
So Oracle is basically a software company. It's the #1 software company in the world. Most people think it's Microsoft, but it's not. It's Oracle. Actually, a lot of Microsoft stuff runs off of Oracle's backbone. They was the inventor of Java. So pretty much a lot of the software out there on the enterprise platforms is something Oracle integrated.
Okay.
So that's that. How long did it take me? It was all gradual. What actually happened with the NFB and the whole chapter and the Sheila Payne in the meeting is myself and Giorgio helped everyone there get a job. So it was like 24 people. Everybody is working. Me and Giorgio looked at ourselves and like, well, what are we gonna do? And Giorgio went into the BEP. I went self-employment. And what I do is what I personally did was taught individuals how to use their technology on especially Apple products. We were the beta testers, and I was the director of accessibility with Apple when the iPhone first became accessible. Worked for them for a while, and then opened up my own assistive technology company because vocational rehabilitation at the time didn't know anything about Apple. I thought it'd be a great idea to be first, and I just so happened to been right. And I say it took about 10 years to become an overnight success, if you know what I mean. It was all gradual. It was helping one person at a time and one person at a time. And, people would talk about you and people would say it's impossible and disabled people don't have any money and just all the stuff that you hear. But I fought through it because I had a dream and I had a goal and I had a passion. And so, yeah.
Yeah, well, I enjoy your story, and it was quite inspiring. And I do believe if you focus your time on helping someone else, then what you got going on, it seems meaningless. As far as anything negative, it doesn't seem to compare. So I applaud you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Are there any other questions for Vashaun? Wow, thank you, Vashaun. That was amazing. That is very powerful. And I'm sure we'll be letting that information digest as we continue on through the workshop. But thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity, you guys.
Please stick with us if you can, but if not, we understand.
Yes, ma'am.
Next up, Ms. Shamanica McKinney. Shamanica has been with Olive Garden for 16 years, and she is a dedicated employee. I've heard from others just how she works multiple shifts to support herself and her family, and she has rose to the top. So, Ms. Shamanica, please take it away.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Shamanica McKinney. I have been employed at Olive Garden in Savannah for 16 years. My journey began April 16, 2007. When I started at Olive Garden, I started as a silverware roller. I would roll silverware Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights for about 4 hours a day. After about 3 months, one of my managers came to me and asked me if I would like to become a host. I gladly accepted the opportunity. While rolling silverware was relaxing, but it became a bit boring. After about 8 months of hosting, I got asked to become a certified trainer. Being a certified trainer, I got to train all the hosts that came to Olive Garden to work. I loved my job as a host. I loved it so much because I get to make the first impression. I'm the first person that they see and the last person. So I knew that if I can put a smile on the guest face, my job was done. That's what it was all about. After about 8 years, I got asked if I would like to become a service professional. A service professional is like an assistant to a manager. Although that job was very challenging, it taught me to be a better listener and showed me voice of reasoning and how to deal with difficult situations in the restaurant. I became very knowledgeable at that job, so much so that one night the district manager came in and she asked me if I ever thought about management. I thought about it, but I couldn't accept because of my children. They were too young at the time, so I felt like I needed to be around them more so than trying to be a manager of a restaurant. So I declined that offer of being a manager. But if I can say anything to someone with a disability wondering if they could work, I would say you can do anything you put your mind to. Believe in yourself.
Wow, thanks, Shamanica. Are there any questions for Shamanica?
Yes. Hi, Shamanica. This is Brenda Walker.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing? Good
Hi.
afternoon, everybody, online. Your challenges, I know, dealing with your disability and stuff like that, like you said, not saying starting from the bottom, but in essence of growing, starting from the bottom.
I started from the bottom.
From the bottom and going to the top, as they say, climbing to the top. I know it was times when you just felt like, oh, I don't think I could do. I mean, your confidence. I think number one is just having confidence in yourself. That's the main priority. You know
Yes.
what you can do, and I mean, you always think like, oh, I can't do that, but when you find yourself that where no, I can do it. I'm just gonna try it. And I think the more you find yourself in a job that you like, the more you feel more confidence. And then when you feel more confidence in yourself, I mean, anywhere you go, I think people just overlook just what is your disability and just see you as the person.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. And I'm so happy for you. Congratulations.
They definitely do. Most of it I did. My kids was my biggest motivation though. I had to do it for them. Cause like having 2 kids and trying to depend on Social Security, it don't always work. So I had to do a lot that I didn't think I could do, but they were my motivation. They pushed me to do everything that I do every day. And still now, they're older now, but they're still my motivation. Because even though they're 18, 19 years old now, I still have to help them. So I still have to make sure and guide them, make sure I teach them that, hey, you see, if I can do it, y'all can do it. I need y'all to do it. So that's how I live my everyday life. If I can I gotta push myself so that I can push them.
That's true. And then I found myself, as you know, going from working to my vision. And I think when people just see I think people see you in the workforce like, oh, you blind, like I'm no vision. And the things that you can do it is times when I can't do certain things in which where I work at now, where I see myself as far as home or outside of doing things. I just build myself up like, okay, I could do this. Every day is not gonna be a good day, but at the same time, I always just keep finding myself more and more, and just building confidence in myself. And I think that keep me going too, along with, like you say, family come first. So looking at your family and knowing that you could just do it, I could just be just like anybody else, and be better. And I think that's what keeps me striving every day in the workforce.
Yes, ma'am.
That was all. And that was all. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Ms. Shamanica? Well, I can say ridden rider, now it's called Cat Mobility, with Shamanica. She's before she started with Olive Garden, and I can tell you that I'm just very impressed with her diligence and dedication, and her rise to the top. It's been really awesome to witness her dedication to her children and to her job, and just how she is dedicated and is willing to work multiple shifts, do what she needs to do. So thanks so much, Shamanica, for being with us. Any other questions?
Yeah, this is Sabrina again. I want to know, Shamanica, being that you are low vision, do you use any assistive technology to help you do your job?
I have cerebral palsy.
My
disability affects my motor skills, so I walk with the walker.
Okay.
But at work, they make all the necessary modifications for me. If I need to sit down, I can sit down. If I need to sit down all day, I can sit down all day. If I need to take a break, I can take a break. I work through it. They work with me, so it makes it a little easier.
Okay, that's good to hear.
You find a position at Olive Garden. Was it something, or did you want to go into the restaurant business, or how did your journey start with employment?
Well, actually, when I went to Olive Garden to eat, and I was sitting in there with my friends talking, we was laughing, we was joking, and the manager walked up to me and told me I had a beautiful smile and would I like to work there. So that's how that started. Actually, I was looking, but wasn't really looking. Never thought I would work in a restaurant, if I'm being honest.
Wow, and the rest is history. That's awesome.
This is Erica. Shamanica. Hello,
Yes.
everybody. I remember you because of your children's grandmother, I think. She passed, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I was a part of her MS group. And I sort of feel like she talked about you. She loved you so much. I'm gonna get off the topic, but yes. I'm sure she's calling down for heaven for you right now. Oh my God, she talked about you so much with our group. Oh, she did. She raved about you all the time. I'm surprised to hear they're adults now. Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
They're out of high school now.
Ma'am.
They're both out of high school. They're both graduates of high school now.
I have a senior. My daughter's a senior this year. My son graduated.
Mm-hmm.
Not last year, but year before.
Okay. Did y'all get married?
We did get. I am married, actually.
Okay, good. Because she thought you were perfect for him. Yes, she did. I'm glad y'all still together. Good.
We are still together.
She just knew you were perfect for him. Yes, she did. Okay, y'all. I'm sorry, I'm off traffic. Bye. Bye.
Okay, I don't see anything in chat.
Okay. Okay, all right. Well, thanks, Monica, for sharing your story. And next up, our next trailblazer is Miss Maggie Meade. She also has quite a story. She's been like a rocket to the top. She started off with life as an intern, and now she heads up our Students for Life youth program. So Miss Maggie Meade, please take it away.
Thank you, Denise. Hi, everybody. My name's Maggie Meade. I work at Life as the Students for Life coordinator, which was our youth transition program. But I want to talk to you guys about how I got to this position. So I was working with Georgia Vocational Rehab, like Vashaun had mentioned. And the first thing I tried to do with them was I wanted to do the medical dictation, where I would listen to like doctor's reports and I would type them out. So I went to an online class for that. And I got to the portion where they would test you, the practical tests of listening to recordings and typing. And so the way that you were graded and the way that you had to work through this process was color coded. So it was really not accessible for me. And I got really discouraged with it. And I kind of just let that go. I just stopped pursuing that career. And that's around when the pandemic happened. And then Georgia Vocational Rehab contacted me when things were starting to get going again after the pandemic. And they just asked me this question of, hey, you came up on our caseload. Are you still interested in finding employment? And I kind of thought about it. And I was like, yes. Because at the time I was just sitting at home, not really doing much. I was doing some volunteering things, but I was pretty, I guess, depressed. And they asked me, are you still interested in employment? And I said, yes. And so when I said yes to that, I kind of really committed myself. And I was like, this time I'm going to find employment. I'm going to get a job. And I love what Vashaun said about it's 80% you, because it really is. Because if you're sitting there waiting for other people to kind of make things happen for you, it's not going to happen. You have to really want it and put in work. So I committed myself to doing that. I was like, this time I'm going to go through with it all the way and I'm going to get employment. So the first thing I did was I went to Savannah Center for Blind and Low Vision because I knew I needed to brush up on my computer skills. It had been a while since I used the computer and different programs. So I went there. I worked with them to get technology training. And also they worked with me on orientation and mobility. So my disability is that I'm blind. And so getting around, traveling in Savannah, taking the bus, walking different places. And both of those things really helped me to build confidence and get the skills I needed to have a job and be able to get to and from my job and be able to use the computer. And so the next step for me was an internship. And this was an internship through GVRA. And the Center for the Blind helped me look for places that were interested in taking on an intern. And one of those places was Life. So I came to Life as an intern. I was working part-time hours. And that was really a big revelation for me. I didn't know about Centers for Independent Living before I came to work here. And so Life really helped me to kind of embrace my disability and see the possibilities that I hadn't really ever seen before. And so I've really enjoyed working here, and it helped me to learn about job accommodations. And as Shamanica had mentioned, things that you can ask from your employer to make your job accessible, like being able to work from a seated position, or for me, it would be things like getting assistance with certain like paperwork and being able to use my screen reader to access my computer. And so now I'm working full-time at Life, and I actually, as Students for Life coordinator, I go into the schools, into high schools, and also into project search groups. And I talk with young people about life skills and living independently and employment readiness, and helping them to think about their goals and their journey and what journey they want to take and how they're going to get there, which I find very rewarding. So that's kind of my employment story. And also today I wanted to share some employment resources that I've come across that I think could be helpful. And Angel has this list in a document which she can put into the chat. Or if you're not able to access that document, we can send you it in an email, this list of links. So if for any reason you're not able to access the document, you can put your email in the chat and we will get that out to you. But I'm going to talk a little bit about each of these. So the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission is through the US government, and they have on their website, which I linked, an article that you can learn more about your rights under the ADA. You can also just Google Americans with Disabilities Act. And the whole Title I covers employment. So businesses that have 15 employees or more, and also any business or, any government agency, regardless of the number of their employees, is covered under the ADA. And it talks about your rights as a person with a disability to have equal access to applications, interviews, and the job, whether you're going into a job as someone that has a disability, whether you acquired your disability while you're on the job, as Vashaun had mentioned, a job save, to where if you have a job and you're starting to acquire a disability, they can work with you to find those accommodations to make your job accessible so you keep your job. So you can learn more at that first link about your rights under the Americans with Disabilities Act. The other really great resource is the Job Accommodation Network. It's JAN or JAN. And I have their website, which is askjan.org. So they just have a ton of information on their website about different accommodations, different disabilities. And they are a resource for people who are seeking jobs, for people who are employed, and also for employers. So this can be a good resource to direct employers to as well, to learn about job accommodations. There were 2 articles on their website that I found to be particularly helpful. One's called Finding a Job That Is Right for You. So I think before you even get into employment, finding the job you want, finding your passion, as Vashaun had said earlier, it has to be something you're passionate about. And then the second article is called Requesting and Negotiating a Reasonable Accommodation. So this talks about if you have a disability and you want a certain career, but you don't know how you could do that, finding accommodations. So what is available, what is possible to accommodate you in that job to make it accessible to you? And then how do you bring that to your employer and ask and say, this is what I need to do my job. So that's all through the Job Accommodation Network, JAN, and that's at askjan.org. Also, there's the Ticket to Work program. So this is really helpful if you are receiving government benefits through SSI or SSDI. You can call their helpline and find out, if you start working, how is employment and income through employment going to affect your benefits? I've actually spoken with them on my own case. They were very helpful. So they have a helpline. One second. I'll go ahead and say it out loud. So their helpline number is 1-866-833-3333. 2967. And on this document, or the links that Angel is sharing with you, there's a document where you can learn more about it, but it's through the Social Security Administration. It's called Ticket to Work. And not only can they help you with navigating your benefits as you go back to work, but they can also provide supports to help you find employment. The next one is Georgia Vocational Rehabilitation, or GVRA. This is the program that Vashaun mentioned and that I have mentioned, where it's 80% you and 20% them. And they will help connect you with trainings. So they helped me connect with Savannah Center for the Blind to get my computer training. And they will provide other supports to help you get to work. A lot of times it's through a third-party organization like Savannah Center for the Blind, and you'll have a counselor there at GVRA. But it's a lot up to you to stay in contact with them and keep calling, as Vashaun had said. And so their number, one second, is 844-367-4872. And that's for Georgia Vocational Rehabilitation. I also included, there's a website called USA Jobs, and this is for federal government positions. And so in accordance with ADA, the federal government has to employ a certain number of people with disabilities. So they're actively seeking employees with disabilities. And so on this USA Jobs website, you can learn more about those positions. And they have it's called a non-competitive hiring path, which is called Schedule A. So you can learn more about this. Let me see if I can find the link. I don't have the exact address in front of me, but you can go to USA Jobs, or you can Google Schedule A hiring, and you would find out more about this. Another one is Ability One, which is through Goodwill. And so this is a supportive integrated employment program. So you're working, there are job opportunities where you're working on a team. You do have support and some job coaching on the job, but it's also integrated with other employees. And so this can be really helpful to get that on the job training experience. And they will also work with you to create your job development plan of where you're going to go from there. So the contact person for this program for Ability One is Veronica Styron, and her phone number is 912-354-6611. And you can Google Ability One through Goodwill, and their website will pop up. And the last one I have to share is, this is a mouthful, the Senior Community Service Employment Program. So this is for senior citizens. It's through AARP, and it's for people who are seniors and want to go back to work. And their phone number is 855-850-2525. And so that's all the resources I had to share with y'all. And if you need them to be emailed to you, you can put your email in the chat. Or if you miss that chance, you could email me directly. So I'll give you my email address. It's M for Maggie, and then my last name, MEADE at lifecil, LIFECIL.com. And we'll get that list out to y'all.
I have a question. This is
Mhm.
Arnick again. What was the number for ability one again?
Okay, one sec, let me find it. Okay, that number is 912
Mm-hmm.
354
Mm-hmm.
6611. And the lady's name is Veronica Styron.
Appreciate it.
Mhm. Does anyone else have any questions?
Whoops. It muted me again after I unmuted. This is Brent here, and I had a job for about 4 years, and then corporate decided they didn't need my location anymore. That happened just about before the pandemic. Like you, I went to school a long time ago for the transcription thing, and I kind of realized when they had a presentation at school about voice recognition and all that other stuff they're doing a ton of nowadays that maybe they weren't when I went to school. I kind of thought, well, if I find something, I do. Otherwise, I'm thinking of looking at something else. But the biggest problem I'm having now is searching for jobs tends to be, okay, I apply for something and now I get an assessment on a platform that, you enter your email address and you click the submit button with JAWS, and it sits there like a bump on a log. And I try to click it, JAWS cursor, all the usual kind of stuff, and realize this isn't going to go anywhere. You know I know in Wisconsin here, the DVR people tend to kind of not really want to go with services that aren't in Wisconsin that much. That might be the same almost everywhere, but some places are more open to it than others. But and they're not apt to go for subscription services in that either. Because I've been having a hard time with my job coordinating transportation and that for my job coach development person, to be able to help me through these things. And they might be kind of long assessments. You don't know how long they are till you do them sometimes. And I kind of thought, what's the best way to get around and deal with that? Because I thought about IRA, but I can't afford the $3 or $4 a minute to maybe spend an hour or two on something, you know, and I don't, and it's not something I need on a ton on a regular basis to want to pay monthly for. What kind of solution, I'm sure you've encountered all those kind of accessibility barriers and different things like that too. What, might be the best thing to try to do to get through some of that, because I'm kind of having a hard time with it, and I think I'm losing out on good opportunities, because of some of this stuff.
Yeah, what was most discouraging to me with the medical transcription was this, that it was not accessible, and I didn't really have the confidence or the advocacy skills at that time. And I was actually told I tried to call that company, that school, and let them know the problems I was having, and I was told, well, I'm sorry, someone didn't explain to you that you're not capable of doing this school because you're blind.
Well,
And so
that's a bad attitude
it
anyway.
was,
I
but
know you can't expect them to recode their whole system,
right,
because that takes a lot of money and a lot of work potentially. Well, maybe they should over time,
right.
but I mean, yeah, that was a thing when I was in school too, is for the longest time I was on a version of JAWS that wasn't even compatible with the version of Word that they had
Mm,
at the time. And getting their finance people to finally upgrade it, they finally did it about a semester and a half, semester and a half before I was done. And I thought, I was able to complete the program. We came up with creative ways to deal with
yeah,
some of that. But then I kind of thought, in my area, it sounded like they were going, the doctor's offices were going largely automated. And I kind of thought, trying to look up all them terms that you don't even know how to spell sometimes.
Right.
I kind of thought to make 10 cents a line, could I even make minimum wage doing it?
Yeah.
Maybe on a good day, but on a bad day when you have doctors that talk a mile a minute like the lottery guy on TV, you know.
Yeah.
And then those assessments trying to apply for jobs, that kind of goes for, because I was a customer service person, so that's what I'm applying for lately.
Mhm.
I took phone calls for a company a lot of us use to listen to popular stuff, and well, they outsourced to a company I worked for. That's their stuff wasn't that accessible at all, really, but we found ways to kind of make it go until one day it kind of didn't, and then I just kind of didn't we spent a long time just sitting, paying me kind of to just sit around, and I kind of listened to watch out for any kind of glaring errors that different people were, if
Yeah.
they do something common that they were finding on calls that they didn't like. I don't like to tattle on people, I know, but I mean, somebody has to do it.
Yeah.
But
Um,
those assessments and all that in getting help with it, it's like convincing VR that that paying $4 a minute,
yeah.
or that
I think the Job
or IRA.
Accommodation Network would be good to look at. JAN, Job Accommodation Network, on their website, askjan.org. I don't have it here, but they also have a phone number on their website.
I can probably get that.
And
Yeah, I
so
talked
they're
to him a long
for,
time ago about something, but
okay,
because I
yeah,
thought of some, had questions about different, because I know even I don't want to move to that area, but I got inspired by some of the stuff they're doing at one of the places that employs some blind people out there, and I'm thinking, I don't have the foggiest idea what kind of accommodations they have to be able to do that, because
mhm,
computers and that I know very well, but other kind of machines and stuff, well,
yeah.
consumers
And
don't deal with.
also, if you're interested at all in a federal or government job, the USA Jobs, through that Schedule A program, they will work with you. So they have dedicated people at different agencies within the government that if you get hired at that agency, they will work with you to come up with accommodations. And that includes from job seeking, well, Job Accommodation Network can help people who are seeking jobs and people who are employed. With the
Yeah.
Schedule A through USA Jobs, they can help you from applications to, once you're hired, finding the accommodations.
Yeah, because that's what got hard because I almost had a job not too long ago at the local paper, but see, here's the issue with it. I didn't understand, because I thought, well, everything's electronic these days, and you know how them brief interviews, they you only get 10-15 minutes, and they pretty much hog all of it and don't give you a lot of time to ask much clarifying, and I thought it was going to be like electronically looking at stuff on the computer and approving it, e-sign, but it turned out it was going to be a mostly paper signing and putting stuff, mailing stuff out. You got to get the stuff lined up so it fit, that it's visible in the window, envelope window things and that. And I'm thinking, I probably can't use Seeing AI and stuff like that uploads to a cloud for legal notices, and that can't do it that way. I'm thinking, and there was another blind guy, that kind of fell apart, because I kind of thought, how would I know where to sign? And how would I would need constant human assistance, probably. I hope I'm wrong about that. I don't like to be the bearer of bad news or think how I can't do something, but once I realized what it was, I kind of thought, I don't see any way forward, and they didn't really either, because another person was that I know that helped me set up my Braille sense when DVR did get me that thing. That was a lot easier than I expected it to be, because everybody's had a no ma'am counselor. Even though you tell them why you need something, exactly what you need, you put in your 80%, and their 20% is what holds you out, because that's the funding is part of that. If you can't afford, well, lucky she bought me that, so I don't have to deal with that once I get a job. But
Are you saying that your concern is working through accessibility issues when it comes to getting and maintaining a job?
Get in applying for in especially applying for the job, and once I get the job, once I have the the job offer and things like that, my previous one kind of almost came very close to going sideways on me because it seemed like nobody really knew what they're doing that well as far as trying to remediate some of the stuff, if it could be scripted maybe, or you know what I mean. So I had to deal with wasting a ton of after call time and hunting around with the JAWS cursor and all that kind of junk, but at least they let me do it. So, well, but I mean, not every company's going to be that nice and that willing to bend over backwards. Well, as long as you can get it done, we don't really care. I wish it was that way, but I got a little lucky, but I didn't, because and I don't want that experience to repeat itself again, that I get something and then what I mean, it might fall apart, and I kind of thought I kind of wanted something, go I'm not necessarily against or for working at home versus working somewhere else, but I know, like, mainstream stuff, virtual training and visuals, that's a whole other rabbit hole.
This is Vashaun. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey,
Because I've been trying to do
cool.
this for a while, and I ain't giving the one thing like you, I ain't giving up. That's
Yeah, but here's my advice to you. You have to
yeah.
get clear as to what you want to do. You're applying for jobs, which is other people's vision. Hey, this looks like this might be good. Hey, let me try this. Hey, this may be accessible. I'm gonna put in my application. You talk good, you're very well articulate. So if they don't know that you're blind, like up front, they're gonna hire you, and then they're gonna be like, "Oh shoot, we hired somebody blind. We can't fire him, so let's go through this thing of trying to see if this screen reader he has is gonna do it." You say it doesn't. They're confused, like, "Well, what do we do?" You get VR involved. They're slow, and that's a
Oh,
cycle. You
it
have
is.
you have to know what you want to do, what it's going to take to do it, and you got to come in there fully armed. If it's JAWS scripting, you need to have a scripter available. Give it to them. Because here's the thing with the government. They work for you. They don't have any answers. They might have a program they can send you to, but they don't have the answers. You got the answers. They work for you. I'm gonna show you how. You can go on any state or federal employees website, and you can look up their paycheck. They have an HR. They work for you. You got to tell them exactly what you want. And guess what? If you don't know what you want, they can't tell you.
Yeah, because back then my other counselor kind of, she was kind of more, active in the sense, well, this is the place that we use, and I assumed they were gonna take care of the scripting and all the other stuff, because they said, oh, there's this tech place in Wisconsin or whatever that deals with the accessibility stuff, and I thought, well, she kind of was almost insisting that it had to be somebody in Wisconsin, and I'm thinking, finding scripters, and that's easy enough, finding them in the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah,
you,
give me a call.
fighting them, because I
Yeah,
knew that's what I'm probably needing. Like
right.
and I knew that I was going after a customer service positions, and that's what I've been generally applying for. I'm open to other things that I could do. If in some of those things, I thought maybe I can find, you know, how accommodations and things like that might work for things I'm interested in, and that I'm like, this sounds interesting to me, but I don't really know.
So Brent,
Yeah.
this is Angel at Life. What county do you live in? Where do you live?
I live in Wisconsin. I live in Brown County in Wisconsin.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for joining us from Wisconsin. That's
But I'm
exciting.
on the thing because I thought, I thought maybe in the meantime, I thought maybe there's some kind of gig work or something out there, but I know we can't do the usual gig work that
Sure,
people do,
sure.
like Uber and
You
Lyft,
are you
but
connected to your local Center for Independent Living where you live? Brent?
You know, I did a long time ago. They kind of said they didn't really know that much as far as blindness and how to do with that. But that was such a long time ago when I was going to school. I might want to revisit that again and see if there might be ways they can help me more than, and maybe
Yeah,
I didn't ask it
encourage
right.
you to, because we're a Center for Independent Living as well. And one of the things that we do work with individuals, we're not a vocational rehab place per se, but we work with individuals on both advocacy and learning how to do accommodations. If you find that your local Center for Independent Living doesn't kind of have all the robust information regarding those things, one of the resources that Maggie provided you, the Job Accommodation Network, their website is fully accessible and they have some excellent trainings about both advocacy and accommodation, and they do it from both the employee and the employer side. And I encourage you to look at both because it's helpful to kind of understand both perspectives, because that helps with your advocacy. And yeah, give your local Center for Independent Living another try and see if they've improved their skills, their independent living skills trainings for individuals who are blind and low vision, and or just simply for job accommodation and advocacy. I think that if you're able to work one-on-one with someone, maybe have a practice session, which is something that we do. We even do mock interviews. There's all kinds of things that you can do to kind of help feel more prepared and just help you track down resources.
Yeah, because that's one of them things that and I even thought, well, I know in that kind of area, if I'm going to try exploring customer service and that a little more, or maybe I'm going to think of doing something else. Yeah, I had a few other ideas out there maybe, but I thought if I was going to keep going with it, I kind of thought, I proposed the idea to my counselor about the idea of doing, they offer temporary work experiences and that, but then she was talking to somebody in that, and she said that the whole idea, because of needing JAWS, because it's a software program, they're not going to buy that for a temporary, because obviously at another company, I can't install my license of something on their system. I don't think, I don't know legally, but I mean, I don't.
Making sure
Yeah.
that you can frame something as a value add to them as an employer. In other words, that's an investment. And it's not dissimilar to any other types of technology that could benefit them as an employer, even as a temporary, because, if you have a success story that you can share in the blind community or disability community, and they have proven themselves to be an employer that's willing to provide a pretty basic accommodation for someone, it really is a value add to them. So sometimes framing it and showing how it does benefit the employer to invest in something like that. So they're investing in something that they can keep. And I think JAWS, you can buy multiple licenses. I think, Denise, isn't that right? When you purchase a program?
I think so.
Yeah, you can purchase certainly businesses and institutions can purchase a multi-user license. But what I was going to say, I would like to see if there are any other questions.
I'd like to say something.
Yes.
Sure.
This is Mr. Ema. If you go on the Freedom Scientific website, you pay $85. That license is good for about 5 years, as long as you download it on your computer. You can also put on a thumb drive. They say they can install it on their system.
Oh, that I could just get that, and then I don't have to deal with, because they say, well, in my area that I'm likely going to probably potentially be one of the first, if not only, blind people, so they're buying it for me to probably shelf for a long time. It can be a hard sell sometimes, especially these companies, and they're like, well, you need this. Well, how much does it cost? Oh, about $1,200.
But this is how you go around this barrier. You have a cell phone, right?
Yeah.
You need a cell phone, correct, right?
Yeah.
You purchase a product, it's on your thumb drive. If you cannot do the job, how will you be able to do the job? If they say you can bring anything, which is called BROB, bring your own laptop, you do that way.
That would work if one's allowed to do that.
But you have to advocate for that. You have to advocate for that.
Yeah, because I was looking at the temporary thing for
under the ADA,
through
if the
VR,
job is
and
not
that
compliant, they cannot hire you, sir.
Excuse me, for the purpose of this workshop, I'm sorry, we're going to have to continue our conversation offline.
Yeah,
I want to.
I don't want to hog it all up because